York's Clifford's Tower is one of the best-loved landmarks in York. It is the largest remaining part of York Castle, once the centre of government in the north of England. The 11th century timber tower on top of the earth mound was burned down in 1190 after York's Jewish community, some 150 strong, was besieged here by a mob and committed mass suicide. Archaeological evidence shows that there was activity in the area in Roman times, with a Roman cemetery lying across the site, and perhaps even earlier, but it was William the Conqueror who first established a castle here. When he marched north in 1068 to suppress a rebellion against his rule, he built a series of castles as he went, including one here where Clifford's Tower now stands. At the end of the 18th century, 3 new buildings forming a U-shape were constructed south of Clifford's Tower, the only surviving part of York Castle. The Assize Court on the west side was one of them. Designed by John Carr, it now houses the York Crown Court. The Assizes were criminal courts used in England and Wales until their abolishment by the Courts Act of 1971. Since then, the criminal justice system has been under jurisdiction of the Crown Court. A temporary bridge over the River Ouse at Clifton was built by the British Army in 1961 on the site of an old ferry crossing to handle additional traffic caused by the wedding of the Duke and Duchess of Kent at York Minster. A permanent bridge was opened officially on the 28th of October 1963. The Yorkshire Museum was one of the earliest purpose-built museums in the country. It opened in 1830 as the new home for the collections of the Yorkshire Philosophical Society. The first keeper was the famous geologist John Phillips. The museum is built in the grounds of York's Abbey, St Mary's, on land given by royal grant in 1828. It probably wouldn't be allowed today, but the museum was constructed over the remains of some of the Abbey buildings. These can be seen in the basement of the museum. The Yorkshire Museum collections have remained true to the original interests of the founders, archaeology and science. Indeed, when the museum was founded, archaeology was considered a branch of science. In 1831, the first ever meeting of the British Association for the Advancement of Science was held at the museum. Abbey was first built in 1088. The Abbey estate occupied the entire site of the museum gardens, and the abbot was one of the most powerful clergymen of his day, on a par with the Archbishop of York. In medieval York, the abbey sat opposite and mirrored the minster, two great buildings dedicated to worship. York's Art Gallery's collection of paintings spans more than 600 years, and works range from the 14th century Italian panels and 17th century Dutch masterpieces to Victorian narrative paintings and 20th century works by Ellis Lowry and David Hockney. They also hold the most extensive and representative collection of British studio ceramics, thanks to the acquisition of collections from Dean Milner White, W.A. Ismay, and Henry Rothschild, and the recent long-term loan of Anthony Shaw's collection. The building which houses the gallery opened its doors to the public in 1879 for the second Yorkshire Fine Art and Industrial Exhibition, inspired by the Great Exhibition in London of 1851. In 1892, it became the City Art Gallery. York's Minster is officially the Cathedral and Metropolitan Church of St. Peter in York. Although it is by definition a cathedral, as it is the site of the bishop's throne, the word cathedral did not come into use until the Norman conquest. The word minster is what Anglo-Saxons named their important churches. A church first stood here in 1627. It was quickly built to provide a place for Edwin, King of Northumbria, to be baptized. It was finally completed 252 years later. Since its establishment in the 7th century, there have been 96 archbishops and bishops. Henry VIII's Lord Chancellor, Thomas Wolsey, was cardinal here for 16 years, but never once stepped foot in the minster. All Saints Pavement is a local landmark due to its striking octagonal 15th century lantern tower. In the medieval period, a lantern was hung from the tower to act as a beacon for travellers in the forest of Galtres to the north. The church, first mentioned in the Domesday Book, is the burial place of 34 Lord Mayors. Look for the 12th century door knocker depicting the mouth of hell. The unusual name of the church comes from the fact that it stands on one of the first areas of paved roadway in York. York's Hiscox building has set the scene perfectly for the building's most stunning feature, its spectacular foyer. The foyer assumes the full length of the building to the north end, with the glass curtain wall to one side of it and the contemporary wall to the other. Between the two is a soaring 3-story cathedral-like space, awash with natural daylight and cast almost entirely in rich, fair-faced concrete, expertly smoothed and honed to almost resemble stone. Refreshingly, there is some decidedly non-corporate interest too. To the far end, a rocket appears surreally primed to be blasted into the skylight above it. Despite appearances to the contrary, the skylight came first and the rocket, a weapon-turned sculpture that is an authentic Cold War remnant from the former Soviet arsenal, is now part of the former chairman Robert Hiscox's impressive art collection.